I worked part-time for DoorDash to help cover my expenses. I'd met all kinds of customers, drunk, crazy, annoying. You kind of get used to it, but that night I was heading home, thinking I was done for the night when one more order popped up. I almost declined it, but then I accepted it. My name's Barry. I'm 24 years old, and right now I'm studying business administration in college. I live in Columbus, Ohio, with my dad. It's just the two of us at home these days. My older sister moved away for work a while back, so for the most part, it's me and him. My dad retired a couple years ago. He gets some retirement income, so it's not like we're completely struggling or anything, but money can still get a little tight sometimes. And honestly, at 24, I don't really want to be asking my dad for money every time I need something. I like paying for my own stuff, and if I can help out with groceries or a bill here and there, I do. That's actually why I started doing DoorDash. I've been doing it for about 7 months now. It works pretty well with college because I can just go out whenever I have some free time. Most days, I'll finish up with classes, come home for a while, get some stuff done, and then head back out at night for a few hours. On weekends, I'll usually stay out a little later if the orders are coming in. And honestly, it's not a bad gig. You do meet some interesting people though. I've had drunk guys come to the door and act like we've known each other for years. I've had people get mad at me because the restaurant forgot something in their order, like I was the one back there making their food. I've had customers give me completely wrong directions and then get annoyed because I couldn't find their house. You kind of get used to it after a while. Most of the time, even if somebody's a little weird, you hand them their food, get back in your car, and 5 minutes later you've already forgotten about them. So I've had a lot of weird encounters doing this, and most of them I can laugh about now, but there's one night from a few months ago that I honestly don't like thinking about too much. Just the thought of what could have happened if I'd stayed there any longer still gives me the creeps. The day it happened was a Thursday. I remember that because Thursdays were usually pretty easy for me. I only had 2 classes that day, and I was done sometime in the afternoon. I got home, ate something, and spent a couple hours working on an assignment I had due the following week. After that, I was just sitting around watching stuff on my phone, and at around 7 or 8, I decided I might as well go out and make some money. That was pretty normal for me back then. If I didn't have anything going on at night, I'd just open DoorDash and see how busy it was. That night was actually pretty decent. My first delivery was from a burger place to an apartment building. The guy met me downstairs, grabbed his food, said thanks, and that was it. After that, I had an order for a couple of college kids. I could tell they'd been drinking because they were standing outside waiting for me and arguing over who was supposed to tip me. I remember one of them going, "Dude, I paid for the food." And the other guy was like, "Yeah, and I bought the beer." They went back and forth for maybe 30 seconds before one of them finally handed me a few bucks. I was just standing there trying not to laugh. After that, I kept going. There were a few more deliveries throughout the night, nothing really worth talking about. Pick up the food, follow the GPS, drop it off, move on to the next one. By around midnight, though, I was getting pretty tired. I'd been out for a few hours, I'd made enough that I was happy with it, and I still had college stuff I needed to get done the next day, so I decided I'd finish the order I was doing and head home. I dropped that one off and started driving back toward my place. I hadn't gotten very far when another order popped up on my phone. I looked at it for a second and almost declined it. The pickup wasn't too far away though, and the pay was actually pretty good for the distance. I remember sitting there thinking, all right, one more. Then I'm done. So I accepted it. The order was from a pizza place I'd picked up from a few times before. I drove over there, parked, went inside, gave them the name on the order, and waited a few minutes. It was 2 large pizzas and a smaller box on top. I don't remember exactly what was in the smaller one. Could have been wings or breadsticks or something. The guy behind the counter handed everything over to me. I confirmed the pickup on my phone and started heading toward the customer. It was about a 15-minute drive. I headed out and started following the GPS. For the first 10 minutes or so, I was on roads I knew pretty well. Then the GPS had me turn off onto some smaller residential streets I didn't really use much. There wasn't much traffic at that hour. Every now and then, another car would pass me, but mostly I was just driving through neighborhoods with houses on both sides and cars parked along the street. As I got closer to the address, the houses started getting a little more spread out. Still a residential area, just quieter, with bigger yards and more space between some of the properties. The GPS had me make another turn and then told me the house was coming up on my right. I slowed down and started checking the numbers. I passed one house, then another, and finally saw the number I was looking for. The house sat a little farther back from the road than the others around it. There was a driveway leading up toward it and a light on near the front door. I could see lights through a couple of the windows too. I pulled over, checked the address on my phone one more time, and made sure I had the right place. Then I grabbed the pizzas, got out of the car, and walked toward the house. When I got closer to the front door, I could hear a TV playing somewhere inside. I could hear people talking too, so there were obviously a few people still up. I rang the doorbell and waited. A few seconds later, the door opened, and this older guy was standing there. I'd say he was probably in his early 60s. He was a little taller than me, and still pretty solid looking for his age. He had gray hair that looked like it hadn't been combed all day, and this gray beard that was starting to grow out. He had on an old t-shirt and faded work pants, and both were pretty dirty. There were dark marks on his shirt, stains on his pants, all that. He had a screwdriver in one hand and a pair of pliers in the other, and his hands were covered in dirt and grease too. "Hey sir, DoorDash, got your order here." His face lit up when he saw the boxes. "Oh, finally, thank God. We've been starving over here." I laughed a little. "Yeah, sorry, took me about 15 minutes. No, you're good. Hey, you mind bringing those in for me? Just put them on the table. My hands are a mess." He held them up a little. "Yeah, sure." He stepped out of the way, and I walked inside. The first thing I noticed was the smell. I couldn't really tell you exactly what it was. There was definitely food cooking somewhere, but there were a few other smells mixed in with it. Something kind of stale, maybe cigarettes, and then this weird sour smell underneath everything. I walked farther in and saw the table he was talking about. Right there is perfect. I put the pizzas down and finally got a proper look around. The place was a mess. There were dishes sitting around, clothes thrown over the back of a chair, kids' stuff on the floor, and a bunch of random things piled up on one end of the dining table. Even the carpet looked like it hadn't been cleaned in a while. The guy caught me looking around and laughed. "Yeah, don't judge us. We're trying to get this place cleaned up." I smiled. "Trust me, I've seen my place get pretty bad too. I'm not judging." "He's trying," a woman called out from the kitchen. He looked toward the kitchen. "See? Even my wife thinks it's bad." I laughed. "Well, there you go." A few seconds later, she came out. She looked around his age, maybe late 50s or early 60s. She was a little heavy-set, with dark hair that had a lot of gray running through it, tied back behind her head. She had on this faded shirt underneath an old apron that was covered in stains. Some looked like grease, some looked like old food. Honestly, I couldn't tell what half of them were. As soon as she saw the pizza, her face lit up. "Oh, the pizza's here. Thank God." "Yep. You have no idea how glad I am to see that. Dinner has been a complete mess tonight." I laughed a little. "Well, that's literally my job, ma'am." "No, I know. I'm just glad you got here." She was way more thankful than most customers usually were. Normally, I got a quick thanks, handed over the food, and that was it. She was acting like I'd really helped them out or something. She looked back toward the kitchen. I was trying to get something together for everybody tonight, and nothing was going right. Finally, I just gave up and told him we're ordering pizza. The older guy said, "Best decision she's made all day." She looked at him. "You want to eat tonight or not?" I laughed. "I'd be careful if I were you." "See," he said, "even this young man knows what I'm dealing with." He looked at me and paused. "Barry," I said. "Barry. Right. Even Barry gets it." I smiled. "Hey, I'm staying out of this. I just brought the pizza." The woman laughed. "Smart." The older guy looked down at his hands and started to hold one out before stopping himself. "I'd shake your hand, but you probably don't want any of this on you. Cooper, you can call me Mr. Cooper." "Nice to meet you. And this is my wife, Sally." "Nice to meet you, Sally." "You too, Barry." From where I was standing, I could see part of the kitchen behind her. The counters were cluttered, the sink was full of dishes, and there were pots and pans sitting around. Then I noticed something on the floor near one of the cabinets. There were 2 dead roaches lying there. I guess I looked at them for a second too long, because Sally followed my eyes. "Oh God, yeah." She shook her head. "Those stupid things have been driving me crazy." Mr. Cooper said, "That's half the reason we're tearing everything apart." "We had somebody spray," Sally said. "Now I'm finding dead ones everywhere. It's disgusting." "Yeah, that's rough," I said. "I see one at our place and suddenly I'm cleaning stuff I haven't touched in 6 months." Sally laughed. "Exactly. That's exactly what I've been doing." Mr. Cooper shook his head. "Don't encourage her," I smiled. "I'm staying out of this one too." That's when I noticed the kids in the living room. There was a little boy sitting on the floor playing with a couple of toy cars. He looked about 6 or 7, skinny, with messy brown hair. He had on this oversized t-shirt and a pair of shorts. A girl was sitting on the couch watching TV. She looked maybe 9 or 10. She had long brown hair pulled back into a loose ponytail and was wearing an old sweatshirt with a pair of pajama pants. The whole family looked kinda unkempt, I guess. Nothing any one of them was wearing was that strange by itself. It was more that all 4 of them looked like they'd been hanging around that house for days without really caring what they looked like. Mr. Cooper noticed me looking toward the living room. "Those are our 2. That's Mike, and that's Laura." Mike looked up when he heard his name. "Hi." "Hey, buddy." He held up one of his toy cars. "Look." I smiled. "That's pretty cool." Laura looked over from the couch and gave me a quick little wave. "Hey," I said. "Hi." Then she went right back to the TV. I looked toward the front door. "All right, well, I should probably get going. You guys enjoy the pizza." "Oh, before you go," Sally said, "you want something to drink? Water, tea, coffee?" "Nah, I'm good. Thank you, though." "You sure?" "Yeah, I'm fine." She offered me a slice of pizza, too, which I thought was nice. But honestly, after seeing those roaches in the kitchen, I wasn't really interested in eating anything in that house. Obviously, I didn't tell her that. "No, really, I'm good. You guys enjoy it." Mr. Cooper had put his tools down on this little cabinet near the wall by then. "You been out delivering all night?" "Pretty much, since around 7 or 8. That's a long night." Yeah, I'm done after this though. This was my last one. How long you been doing DoorDash? About 7 months. You like it? It's all right. Works pretty well around college. Oh, you're in college? Yeah. What are you studying? Business administration. Nice. And that was kinda how the conversation kept going. Nothing he was asking felt random. I'd say something, he'd pick up on part of it, and then Sally would throw something in too. I remember thinking they were actually pretty easy to talk to, but I was still standing there with my keys in my hand, and after another minute or two, I looked toward the door again. All right, seriously, I should get out of here. Of course, Sally said. Then she looked at me for a second. You said you're studying business administration, right? Yeah. My nephew did that. Oh, really? Yeah. Although he couldn't decide what he wanted to do with it. Mr. Cooper laughed. Still can't. We talked about that for another minute, and then somehow Mr. Cooper got onto college tuition and how expensive everything had gotten. Again, it wasn't anything important. It was just conversation. But every time it felt like there was a natural point for me to leave, one of them would say something else, and I'd answer without really thinking about it. At one point, I remember looking at the time on my phone. I'd already been standing there way longer than I normally would after dropping off an order. All right, I really gotta go. Sally nodded. Yeah, we shouldn't keep you. You sure you don't want a glass of water before you leave? I almost said no again. Then I figured whatever. A glass of water would take 30 seconds. Yeah, okay, water's fine. I'll get it. She went back toward the kitchen. Mr. Cooper pulled one of the chairs away from the table. You can sit down. She'll be a minute. I laughed. I'm good standing. Suit yourself. Sally came back with a glass of water and handed it to me. Thanks. Of course. I took a drink, still standing there beside the table, and right when I was about to put the glass down and leave, Mr. Cooper asked me another question. So why business? I looked at him. What do you mean? Business administration. Why'd you pick that? You want to work for some big company someday, or are you thinking about starting something yourself? I laughed a little. Honestly, I don't really know. You don't know? Not really. When I was choosing what to study, business just kind of caught my attention. I figured there were a lot of different things I could do with it, but now that I'm actually getting closer to finishing, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. Mr. Cooper smiled and shook his head. You Gen Z kids, I tell you, half of you don't know what the hell you want to do with your lives. He started laughing. I laughed too. Hey, I'm trying. No, I'm messing with you. I don't blame you guys. It's a big decision. Some people just get lucky and figure it out early. Really? What about you? What about me? Are you where you wanted to be? He laughed. Hell no. See? So leave Gen Z alone. Sally laughed. He's got you there. Mr. Cooper pointed at me. All right, fair enough. So what did you want to do? I wanted to be a commercial pilot. I was fascinated by aviation ever since I was a kid. I laughed. Yeah, but I feel like every other kid wants to be a pilot at some point. Planes are just cool when you're little. No. This wasn't just when I was a kid. I carried that into my teens, my 20s. I was serious about it. Oh, really? Yeah. I used to read everything I could find about planes. Later on, I'd watch videos, flight simulations, all that stuff. I wanted to understand how everything worked, how you control the plane, how you navigate, even just how the damn thing stays in the air. I laughed. Okay, yeah, you were serious. Oh, I was serious. Sally smiled. Obsessed is probably a better word. I was not obsessed. Yes, you were. I laughed. So what happened? Mr. Cooper shrugged. Life happened. That's it? That's it. You're not going to give me anything more than that? He smiled. Nope. I laughed. All right, seems fair. He pulled the chair beside me out a little. Sit down, man. You're making me nervous standing there with that glass. I looked at the chair and laughed. Fine. I sat down. And yeah, I knew it was kinda weird. I didn't normally walk into somebody's house after a delivery, sit at their table, and start talking about my life. That's obviously not how DoorDash usually went, but there was something about those two. Like I said earlier, they were easy to talk to. Neither of them seemed in any hurry, and somehow I wasn't really in one anymore either. Mr. Cooper looked at me. You like flying? No. He laughed. That was quick. I hate planes. Really? Yeah. Why? I'm scared of heights. Sally looked over at me. Have you always been? I paused for a second. More or less. Something happened when I was a kid. Mr. Cooper's expression changed a little. Something involving heights? Yeah. What happened? I shook my head. I'd rather not get into that. Of course, Sally said. You don't have to. Mr. Cooper nodded. Absolutely. If you're not comfortable talking about it, don't. Yeah, it's just not something I really like talking about. Fair enough. And they left it there. That actually made me a little more comfortable with them. They'd asked, I'd said no, and neither one tried to push it. Around then, Sally started opening the pizza boxes. The second she did, Mike came running over. Mom, I want pepperoni. You're getting pepperoni. 2. 1 first. But I'm hungry. So is everybody else. Mr. Cooper looked at me. Every night. I laughed. I remember being that age. Laura came over too, grabbed a plate, and sat down at the other end of the table. Sally looked at me. You sure you don't want a slice? No, I'm good, thank you though. And I actually was getting hungry by then, but then I could still see those dead roaches on the floor. So I passed. It was kind of funny when I think about it now. I can't remember another delivery where I brought somebody their food and then sat there while the whole family opened it up and started eating in front of me. At that point, it barely even felt like I was sitting in a customer's house anymore. It felt more like I'd stopped by some relative's place and somehow gotten pulled into a conversation. Mr. Cooper grabbed a slice and looked at me. So you said you live with your dad? Yeah, just me and him now. My older sister moved away for work. What does your dad do? He's retired. Oh, okay. Yeah, he gets retirement income and everything, but I try to help out where I can. That's part of why I do DoorDash. Help with bills, groceries, my own expenses, stuff like that. I don't want to be 24 and asking my dad for money every time I need something. Mr. Cooper nodded. That's good. I try. Sally looked at me. And how does that make you feel? I looked at her. What? Helping your dad, being able to contribute. Good, obviously. We're close. He's done a lot for me. So, you feel responsible for helping him? I wouldn't say responsible. I just don't want to be a burden. Mr. Cooper looked at me. Do you think he sees you that way? No, definitely not. But you worry about becoming one? I looked at him for a second. I mean, yeah, I guess. Sally nodded. And why do you think that bothers you so much? I looked from her to Mr. Cooper. Then I laughed. Okay, hold on. Sally smiled. What? Can I ask you guys something? Sure. I pointed between the two of them. Are you guys therapists? For a second, neither of them said anything. Mr. Cooper looked at Sally. Sally looked at him, then she started laughing. Mr. Cooper looked back at me. Wait, are you serious? Yeah, Are you? He started laughing too. Damn, how'd you figure that out? I knew it. Sally was still laughing. Are we really that obvious? Kinda. Oh, that's terrible. No, it's the questions. I say something, and then it's like, how does that make you feel? Why do you think you feel that way? Mr. Cooper laughed. Oh man. Sally looked at him. We're doing it again. Apparently, I laughed. So I'm right? Mr. Cooper nodded. Yeah, you're right. Both of you? Both of us? No way. Sally smiled. How did you know though? Just the questions? Mostly. I've done therapy before. Oh, she said. Okay, now it makes sense. Yeah, a couple years ago. I went for a while, so I kinda know how you guys roll. Mr. Cooper laughed. That's how we roll? You know what I mean. No, I like it. Sally looked at me. Did it help? I pointed at her. There, you just did it again. She covered her face for a second and laughed. I'm sorry. Mr. Cooper was laughing too. You can't turn it off. Apparently not. No, but yeah, I said. It helped. I had some stuff going on back then, and it was good talking to somebody. That's good, Mr. Cooper said. I'm glad you had a good experience with it. So you guys still practice? Not anymore. But you used to. For years, Sally said. Mr. Cooper nodded. Long time. That actually explains a lot. He laughed. Well, we had plenty of practice. Sally smiled. It becomes second nature after a while. You spend enough years listening to people and asking questions, you don't really forget how to do it. I can tell. Mr. Cooper leaned back in his chair. I loved the work though. I really did. You'd have somebody come to you completely stuck, thinking there was no way out of whatever they were dealing with. Then slowly you'd watch them start figuring things out. Sally nodded. That was the best part. Sounds like you guys miss it. They looked at each other. Mr. Cooper smiled. Sometimes. To be honest, I was enjoying talking to them. I'd gone from trying to leave every couple minutes to sitting at their table while they ate pizza, talking about college, my dad, therapy, all kinds of stuff. It was definitely not how I expected my last delivery of the night to go, but at that point, I didn't mind. After that, Mr. Cooper laughed and shook his head. Well, I guess the secret's out now. What secret? You know we're therapists. Former therapists. Right, former therapists. Sally looked at him. Maybe stop interviewing the poor guy then. I wasn't interviewing him. I laughed. You kinda were. See, Sally said. Mr. Cooper held up his hands. All right, no more therapy. Thank you. For at least 5 minutes. I laughed, and for a little while, that's exactly what happened. We just talked. Mike and Laura were eating. Sally was going back and forth between the table and the kitchen, and Mr. Cooper asked me a couple things about DoorDash. Nothing serious, just what nights were usually busiest, whether the money was decent, stuff like that. At one point he asked me if I'd ever had anybody try to rob me. Rob me? Yeah, you're driving around late at night with food, money, your phone, going up to random houses. Nah, I've had some weird customers, but nothing like that. Sally looked over. I'd be terrified doing that at night. You get used to it. Your dad doesn't worry? Oh, he does sometimes. I would too, she said, especially this late. Yeah, but I've been doing it for a while now. He knows I'm careful. Mr. Cooper took another bite of pizza. He stays up until you get home? I laughed. No, he'd never get any sleep. So you just come and go whenever you're working? Basically, I usually tell him I'm heading out, and that's about it. That's probably better, Sally said. Otherwise, he'd be calling you every 20 minutes. Exactly. He used to text me a lot when I first started. Now he's used to it. Mr. Cooper nodded. Parents never really stop worrying, though. No, definitely not. At the time, there wasn't anything strange about that conversation. We were literally talking about me driving around Columbus after midnight. Asking whether my dad worried about me made sense. Then Mr. Cooper asked me something else. How does all that work anyway? The app tells you exactly where to go? Yeah. So you don't really know where you're headed until you're working? Depends on the order. You get information before you accept it. Then once you've picked everything up, you're basically just following the app. He nodded. That's crazy. So you're just bouncing around the city all night? Pretty much. And I guess they keep track of everything through the app? Yeah, there's a record of the deliveries and all that. Oh, okay. He said it casually and went right back to eating. I didn't think much of it. Sally sat down again. Have you ever gotten completely lost? Oh yeah, she laughed. Even with GPS? You'd be surprised. GPS will get you to the neighborhood and then suddenly decide some random alley is the front entrance. Mr. Cooper laughed. Technology. Exactly. I'd be calling the customer. Sometimes you have to, so they can see when you're getting close. Yeah, they get updates. That's actually pretty useful. It is. Again, none of those questions really stood out by themselves. It was more that after a while, I started noticing how much we were talking about where I went, who knew where I was, how the app worked, stuff like that. I wasn't sitting there thinking they were planning something. Nothing like that. I just remember thinking they were really interested in how DoorDash worked. Mr. Cooper leaned back in his chair. Well, at least if you ever get sick of delivering food, you've got 2 retired therapists here. We'll fix your whole life for free. I laughed. Oh yeah? Absolutely. Full session, no charge. Sally looked at him. Don't make promises for me. You're part of the package. I didn't agree to this package. I laughed. Then Mike looked up from his pizza. Like that other guy? Mr. Cooper looked over at him. What other guy? The guy who came for their... Mike, buddy. Eat your pizza. Mike stopped. I looked at Mr. Cooper. What was he saying? Mr. Cooper wiped his hands on a napkin. Oh, nothing. We had somebody come by a while back. Somebody I used to work with. Like an old client? Yeah, he was having a rough time. Needed somebody to talk to. Sally nodded. He wasn't doing very well. Mr. Cooper said. So we sat down with him for a while, talked through some things. Nothing official or anything, just helping somebody out. That was nice of you. Yeah, he felt a lot better afterward. Mike looked up again. But Dad, Mr. Cooper turned toward him. Mike, but I told you, eat your pizza before it gets cold. Mike looked down at his plate. There was this little pause. Mr. Cooper looked back at me and smiled. Kids, you know. I gave him a small laugh. Yeah. Sally asked Mike if he wanted another slice, and just like that, everybody started talking again. But that little exchange stayed in my head. It wasn't even what Mike said, because he barely got anything out. It was the way he said, "But Dad," like there was something about Mr. Cooper's version of that story that didn't sound right to him. I remember looking over at Mike a couple times after that. He'd already gone back to eating and playing with one of his cars like nothing had happened. So I let it go. A few minutes later, Mr. Cooper and Sally were talking to me again, and I was answering them like before. But I wasn't quite as relaxed anymore. I was paying a little more attention to what they were saying. Mr. Cooper asked me about the therapy I'd mentioned earlier. So how long did you go for? Not that long, a few months, I think. And then you stopped? Yeah, I was doing better. He nodded slowly. You think you were done? I laughed. I mean, yeah. That's why I stopped going. No, I know. I'm just asking. Sally looked at me. A lot of people stop once they start feeling better. Isn't that the point? Sure, she said. Sometimes. But feeling better and actually dealing with whatever brought you there aren't always the same thing. I smiled. You guys really can't turn this off, can you? Mr. Cooper laughed. I told you. Too many years. I'm starting to regret figuring you out. That childhood thing still bothers you? I looked at him. The heights? Yeah. I laughed. Nice try. He smiled. Can't blame me for trying. I already told you I'm not talking about that. And that's fine. He took another bite of pizza. I just find it interesting. What? You brought it up yourself, but the second we asked about it, you shut the door. Well, yeah, because I don't like talking about it. Exactly. I looked at him. Exactly what? He smiled. Nothing. I laughed. See, now you're doing that therapist thing where you say nothing when you obviously mean something. Sally laughed. He does that. Mr. Cooper pointed at her. Don't help him. That got me smiling. And that's what made the whole thing confusing. 1 second I'd be thinking about what Mike had said earlier, and the next Mr. Cooper would crack some joke, and we'd all be laughing again. He wasn't acting threatening, neither was Sally, but they had definitely started analyzing me more than I wanted them to. Mr. Cooper asked me a couple more things about my dad and college. Not anything crazy, but now that I knew what they used to do for a living, I could hear it in the way they talked. They'd take something small I'd said and pull another question out of it. Eventually, Mr. Cooper leaned back and looked at me for a second. You know what I think? What? I think you could use a session. I laughed. A session? Yeah. For what? For you. I looked at Sally. Is he serious? She smiled. I think he is. I looked back at him. Right now? Why not? It's like 1 a.m. So? I laughed. Man, going home and sleeping is about all the therapy I need tonight. Mr. Cooper laughed. Come on, 5 minutes. Nah, I'm good. 5 minutes, Barry. I've already given you guys way more than 5 minutes. Exactly. So what's another 5? I laughed and shook my head. You're good, I'll give you that. At what? Keeping people here. He smiled. Occupational hazard. I looked down at my phone and checked the time. I don't remember exactly how long I'd been inside by then, but it was way longer than I'd planned. That kind of snapped me out of the conversation. I stood up. All right, guys, seriously, I gotta get home. Sally looked up at me. You sure? Yeah, I'm tired. Mr. Cooper stayed sitting for a second. That's exactly why you should stay. I laughed. How does that make any sense? Because you're tired, your guard's down. You're not sitting there thinking about every answer before you give it. I looked at him. Yeah, I don't know if that's selling it the way you think it is. Sally laughed. He has a point. Thank you, I said. Mr. Cooper smiled and stood up. I'm serious, though. 5 minutes, that's all. I'm good, Mr. Cooper, really. You said therapy helped you before. It did. So let me help you now. I don't really need help with anything. Everybody needs help with something. There was nothing particularly aggressive about the way he said it, but I remember getting this feeling right around then that I should leave. I don't know how else to explain it. I'd been sitting there laughing with these people, talking about my dad and college and all kinds of personal stuff. 10 minutes earlier, I would have told you they were strange, sure, but friendly. Now my gut was telling me I'd stayed long enough. Mr. Cooper must have noticed me looking toward the front door. "Barry, relax. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. I know. We're just offering. I appreciate it, seriously, but I'm gonna head out. You'd feel better afterward." "I feel fine now." He laughed a little. "That's what everybody says." Something about that made me think of Mike again, the other guy, the one Mr. Cooper said had come there for help. I looked toward Mike. He was back on the floor with his cars, barely paying attention to us. Mr. Cooper stepped away from the table. "Look, we'll do 5 minutes. If you don't like it, you walk out. Simple." "Where?" He nodded toward the hallway. "In there. It's quieter." I followed his eyes. I'd noticed the hallway before, but I hadn't really paid attention to it. There was a closed door at the far end. "What's in there?" "Nothing. Just a room where we can talk without everybody interrupting." I looked at him. "You have a therapy room in your house?" He laughed. "I wouldn't call it a therapy room. It's just private." Sally smiled. "He likes quiet when he talks to people." "Yeah, well, I'm good out here." Mr. Cooper took a couple steps toward the hallway. "Come on. 5 minutes." "Nah. You haven't even tried it. And I'm okay with that." He stopped and looked at me. Then he smiled. "Barry, I'm pretty sure you'll walk out of that room a happy man." I don't know why, but I didn't like the way that sounded. Maybe if Mike hadn't said what he'd said earlier, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. Maybe it was just the timing. But standing there, looking past Mr. Cooper at that closed door, the whole situation suddenly felt wrong. It was just my gut, and it was telling me not to go anywhere near that room. So I looked at Mr. Cooper and said, "No, I'm heading home." Mr. Cooper looked at me for a second. "Barry, come on. You're making this into something it isn't." "I'm not making it into anything. I'm just tired, man. I want to go home." I looked over at Sally. "Thanks for the water. It was nice meeting you guys." "Of course." I turned and started toward the front door. "Barry." I looked back. Mr. Cooper had followed me. 5 minutes in that room. That's all I'm asking. Nah, I'm done. I turned away again. And that's when he grabbed my arm. I stopped and looked down at his hand. "Dude, what are you doing?" "Relax, just listen to me." I tried pulling away, but instead of letting go, he tightened his grip and pulled me toward him. That's when it really hit me. For a guy his age, he was a lot stronger than I expected. His hand was locked around my forearm, and he was actually trying to pull me toward that hallway, toward that room. "Let go of me." "Barry, calm down." Then he pulled me again, and that was it. Whatever part of me had still been trying to stay polite disappeared. Sally stood up. "Cooper." But I wasn't even listening anymore. I ripped my arm back as hard as I could and shoved him. I don't think either of us expected me to push him that hard. Mr. Cooper stumbled backward, hit the side of the couch, and went down onto the floor. Sally screamed. "What the hell did you do?" "Dad!" Mike and Laura both ran toward him. Sally dropped down beside Mr. Cooper while Laura grabbed his arm. "Cooper, are you all right?" "Dad, are you okay?" I didn't wait around to find out. I turned and ran straight for the front door. I grabbed the handle and pulled. Nothing. I twisted it and tried again. The door wouldn't open. What the hell? I pulled harder, then pushed against it and tried the handle again. Still nothing. I don't know if there was another lock I wasn't seeing, or if I was just panicking so badly that I couldn't figure the damn thing out. All I knew was that the door wasn't opening. Behind me, I could hear Sally helping Mr. Cooper up. I looked over and saw Mike. "Mike, open the door." He just stood there. "Mike, come on, open it." He looked at me, then back at his dad. Mr. Cooper was starting to get up. "Mike, don't." Mike froze. "Mike, open the door." He still didn't move, and that's when I saw his toy car lying on the floor, the same one he'd been playing with pretty much the entire time I'd been there. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I wasn't thinking straight anymore. I ran over, grabbed the car, and held it up. "Mike, open the door, or I'm breaking this." His eyes went wide. "No, give it back." "Then open the door." "Mike, don't," Mr. Cooper yelled. Mike looked at his dad, then at me, then at the car. I dropped it onto the floor and put my foot over it. "I'm serious. Open the door." "No." I started putting my weight down. "All right, fine. Here goes your car." Wait. Mike ran toward me. "I'll open it." He rushed over to the door. I moved out of his way, still holding onto the car with my foot beside it. Mike reached up near the handle and messed with something. I don't even know what he did. There was a click. Then he pulled the door open. The second I saw it move, I stepped away from the toy and ran. I didn't say anything. I didn't look back. I just bolted out of that house and down the driveway as fast as I could. I could hear them yelling behind me, but I wasn't stopping to figure out who was saying what. I got to my car, yanked the door open, jumped inside, and locked it. My hands were shaking so bad I fumbled with the keys for a second before I finally got the car started. I threw it into drive. And right before I pulled away, I looked in the rearview mirror. They were standing at the front door. Sally was there. Laura and Mike were behind her. And Mr. Cooper was standing in the doorway, holding onto the frame with one hand like he was still trying to steady himself. Then I heard him yell, "Barry, come back here." I just stared at him. "We still have a session to finish." "Screw that." I hit the gas and got the hell out of there. I kept checking my mirrors for the next few streets, expecting headlights to come flying out behind me or something. Nothing did. Nobody followed me. But I didn't slow down until that neighborhood was way behind me. Although a couple times on the way, I'd notice a car behind me and immediately start wondering if it was them. Obviously, it wasn't. I think I was just so worked up that every little thing had me looking over my shoulder. Eventually, I made it home. The house was completely quiet when I walked in. My dad's bedroom door was closed, so I figured he was fast asleep. For a second, I thought about waking him up and telling him what happened. But honestly, I didn't even know what I would have said. Some family invited me inside after a DoorDash delivery, started asking me all these questions, tried to give me a therapy session, and then the dad grabbed me when I tried to leave. Even in my own head, the whole thing sounded insane. So I just went to my room, put my phone and keys down, and sat there for a minute. I still felt completely wired. I kept thinking about Mr. Cooper grabbing my arm, then that room, and Mike interrupting his dad earlier like he was trying to tell me something. It was all just bouncing around in my head. Eventually, I grabbed some clean clothes and went to take a shower. That's all I wanted at that point. I just stood under the water for a while, trying to clear my head and calm down. By the time I got out, I felt a little better. I went into the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge, and drank probably half of it, standing there. Then I went back to my room and sat down on the edge of my bed. For the first time since I'd left that house, I finally felt like I could relax a little. It's been a few months since all of that happened, and yeah, I'm still doing DoorDash. I kinda have to. I still need the money, and I wasn't gonna completely quit because of one terrible experience. For a while though, I was definitely more careful about the orders I took late at night. If something was taking me way out somewhere I didn't know, I'd usually think twice about it. But that night has never completely left my mind, and the more I've thought about it, the more there are a few things that just don't sit right with me. Mike trying to interrupt his dad. That kid was trying to say something about the other guy who'd come there for therapy. I'm convinced of that. Every time he started, Mr. Cooper shut him down. Then there was the way Mr. Cooper kept pushing that session on me. If somebody tells you they don't want therapy, you don't keep insisting. And you definitely don't grab their arm and try to pull them toward a room after they've already told you no. That's the point where I knew I'd made the right decision, getting the hell out of there. But there's one other thing I didn't really think about until afterward. 5 minutes. Mr. Cooper kept saying it would only take 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and I'd feel better. 5 minutes, and I'd walk out a happy man. I've been to therapy before. A normal session can be 45 minutes, 50 minutes, sometimes around an hour. And even then, therapy isn't some magic pill where you sit down once and suddenly everything in your life is fixed. It can take weeks, months. So, what the hell was he planning to do with me in 5 minutes? That's the part I still can't get out of my head. What was supposed to happen once I walked into that room and that door closed? I don't know, and I don't think I ever will. Maybe that's for the best. Whatever those 5 minutes actually meant, I'm glad I never found out. And whatever the hell was going on in that house that night, I'm just glad I survived it.